A very good evening to you, and thanks for your time. So firstly, just enlighten us, though, on this International Year of Indigenous Languages and how that ties in with what you've written, Made in Chatsworth.
Well, Durban is a UNESCO City of Literature, and the city has been looking to promote local authors, local culture, so we can take our place within this world community of nations as a hub of literary prowess. So we've been looking to promote the city through various publications. isiZulu is one of the main languages in this part of the continent, so one of the 3 books that's going to be launched on Wednesday evening is written entirely in that great language. And this book, Made in Chatsworth, that I'm responsible for, is a biography of place and a personal memoir as well.
So whose story are you telling? Your story? I mean, were you born in Chatsworth? And who else's stories? Is it neighbours, uncles, aunts? Tell us a bit about that.
Yes, it's all my own stories, my friends, my family, my fantasies, a lot of it embellished. But Chatsworth is this township in which I was born, which is now home to almost 500,000 people who come from every corner of the continent. So the vast majority, of course, of Indian origin, because Chatsworth was structured within the grand apartheid paradigm of separate development. But in spite of all of those traumas of being forcibly removed and being plonked in this township, we've developed this over the past 50 years as a really exciting place. And the centerpiece of all of these stories that I've written is the Bangladesh market, the iconic market that I'd like to say is a world-famous market.
It definitely is. I mean, and we know of these, and I'm going to call them townships, Kiru, because that's what Chatsworth and Phoenix were, the Indian townships that we grew up with, and knowing people from there. They're always colourful characters. There are always those characters who live through, I think, decades, and people tell their stories and tell their children and great-grandchildren. Give us some idea, if you'd like, of some of the characters that you've brought to life in this book.
Yes, you brought a smile to my face over that, because it's all these colorful characters that light up the place. You will see stories here about Foul Road and Fat Cat and Saptia and Papu and Champa. You know, all of these people that were part of my growing up, my experience in Cavendish School, in Glenover, all the mischievous things that we did. So a lot of these stories are about real life, real people, their loves and losses, the jeopardies of human existence, the great joys of human existence. So we were able to pull these different experiences into a narrative that captures the totality of the experience. So it's not a history book, it's not an encyclopedia on Chatsworth, but it's a lived experience, what we saw, what we lived through, and now it's developed into a really, really exciting place. No longer the picture of the township that we saw in the 1960s, and these stories are meant to document that and retain that, as you say, for our children and theirs to be able to tell each other.
Now, it is the International Year of Indigenous Languages, Kiru, and of course these townships came with their own lingo, if I can use that word. So, I mean, do you talk about the lingo in the townships, and, you know, do we count them as languages? Because, I mean, you know, that's how you speak, or that's how people spoke, and it's just the way it was in those days, and still is, I think.
Well, I sound very posh now, like I went to a Woolworth school and so on. But when I'm in the township, you know, you know, what you tuning about, what you chow tonight, all of those kinds of languages that are part of our language register. But it's not uncommon to townships around the country. If you were on the Cape Flats or you were in Soweto, you'd be understood by the language that we continue to use in Chatsworth. It's part of the evolving experience. As new themes come in, as new bits of languages come in, we've embraced that. And that's the joys of township life wherever we are in the country, that we're so embracing of all these diverse experiences, and people will take themes from from TV documentaries or soapies and things, and make them as if we are the people living through all of those scenes.
And certainly nothing to be ashamed of. We need to tell the new generation that. Thank you very much, Kiru Naidoo, author of Made in Chatsworth. I think the launch happens this week on Wednesday. Thank you very much, and I look forward to reading what is in this book.